Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. What we're going to be doing in these or this video I should say is we're going to change the clutch actuator to a GP1. As you know, in my previous video I wasn't happy that somebody had re-engineered an LI1 basically, and because the LI1's got rivets, let me open the GP1 to show you. Scooter's India genuine one, or so it says on the packaging. Who am I to be a disbeliever? Right, what I was trying to explain was, on the GP1 this plunger here has no rivets on it, it's sealed in the inside, whereas the LI1's got a cap that goes over like a little pin that comes out. I can't remember if I showed you that. I've got one which if I get 5 minutes at the end I'll show you the difference between an LI and a GP1. And basically, because this has got the rivets on it, and if that wears down and the rivet heads give way to it, this will pop off, and if that drops into your engine and goes into your gears, as I said in the previous one, you can be over the handlebars. So what I'm going to do was I already did my usual mod to the clutch plate. So what I'm going to do is just take the tension out into the springs and then just turn the engine round. I'll get the end of the circlip and just prise off the circlip. That's it. Like so. Take off the circlip and put it safe, and we can now take our plates off. So if I undo the compression tool, keep the dirt away, I'll take that all the way in, we can take off our clutch components. Like so. Well, that clears. What I do is I put the clutch plates the way they came off, so these are dried out. So if you know me, I always do the old racer trick, which is clear out all of these oil ways so the oil gets in, and we are doing surf licks to the top. I mean, you can take them all out, but it's very cold today, and the clutch plates do appear to be stuck even though they're all oiled. So that way up, and again surf licks up. With the surf licks clutch plates, it's dead easy to put them in the same way because they've got their name embossed on them there. So just keep that pointing towards the Kickstarter basically, like so. And then we've got our last plate off there. We can take our LI1. I mean, you see it's been doctored there and there because this probably had the rod, so it's an old LI, very early LI1. So what I'm going to do is just put a bit of oil on the plates, like so. Just stand up all the springs. I did put a bit of grease on them when I put them back. I just need to stand in. There's a little cut out in the spider, and they sit in there, and they should stand upright the way we got the clutch orientated to us. So all we need to do now is to line up the springs that go into the cutouts again. So push that on, hopefully missing the springs, which it hasn't done so far. And still go a bit more than that. That's better. I'll try not to knock over the springs again. You can use a screwdriver through the holes to line them up again anyway. That's not the end of the world. So right, that's in, and I need to put the pressure plate in line. So as you can see, if I put a screwdriver through, that's in line, that's in line. I'll turn it around again. That's in line, that's in line. So all our springs are in line, 5 springs. Yeah, so now we can start putting the plates back together again. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a bit more oil in. I'm not going mad. I'm going to put fresh oil in. Just put a dab in the cap, like so. So we can just put our finger in and just put some oil. On both sides, of course. I knew it was going to fall in there. It just had to, didn't it? So again, and with the Surflex label sticking up, stick that in. And we don't need to put none on the metal ones because we've already done that. So put some more on the next one. I know it's tedious, but it just helps getting everything lubricated. The problem you've got is because the engine's standing up, the oil then drains down again, but there's no point not doing this. So we've got the Surflex up again, Surflex, and our metal one again, back in again, in line, and do our next Surflex. I'm doing some more oil on here. Never have too much oil in a clutch. And it's a great system when you think of it for how old this system is. It works fine. So that one on there, that one again, like so. And then we've just got our top one, top cork that is. I've got a bit of hair on that from somewhere. Turn it over. Brilliant. And the Surflex up again. So all we've got now is our pressure plate, which holds everything together. Then all we've got to do now is holding the springs, just put this back under tension, just enough to get the circlip in. That spring's moved. Like I say, you can pop them back in if they're not miles out of line. And what you can also do is feed the plates down one by one, like so. So you know how far you've got to push the springs under tension. Right, let's get that out of the way, put the cap back on there. Right, so now we've got our spring to go on. I'll just give that a wipe. The spring fits into a cutout on the spider, which is the part that's protruding upwards, and what you want to do is get where the spring clip here, get that out of the way, where these join, you need them under a post. So what I do is I put one in about just before full on, and then just roll that into place like so. Knock it in. It's not in on there. It would pop up again because the camera's where I should be sat. Right, so that's in there, that's in there. And what I'm doing is rolling it around in. Yeah, get my glove free, like so. And because it's bloody cold, it's everything's so hard, but I just want knocking down on the end. That's it. And then I just make sure that the circlip is in position all the way around, and make sure our springs are in, which they are. All nice. Yeah. And then we can undo the clutch compressor. Like so. And undo these nuts. It's another reason why I prefer the studs than the bolts. And then I'll just get my socket set on here. So we've got basically a good clutch now, and because I didn't take any of the chain off, the chain tension and what have you, which I did prior to putting that clutch pressure plate in, is all in perfect place. So I'm just putting these bolts back into a little ice cream container without ice cream, unfortunately, but it's a bit cold anyway for ice cream. And we won't need the compressor again, so that can go away. So what the next job I'm going to do is, and I'll show you in a sec, I don't want to jump ahead of myself. Well, this bolt, one more to go. Never ending bolt. That one. We've also got the Kickstart sprocket engager from the Kickstart shaft. That's turned up. And again, Scooter's India one. Right, so let me just get rid of this beast. Back in its box. And what I want now is just a tad of 1200 wet and dry grit, just to make sure that that's nice. This will bed in anyway, but you just need to just take off the rubbish on here. That banging noise is nothing other than that's not bolted there. So right, and I've noticed we've got a couple of bits off the brush when I was cleaning out with the petrol, getting rid of all the old crud out of here. And that's another bristle. So there's two. Just give that a wipe again. so our engine will turn nice. Lovely. And like I say, I took half the play out of that. I think that's about right now. Looks nice. It's under tension when it spins, so that's just running nice. That's running nice, and I'm quite happy now. So what I'm going to do is just show you the next part, which is this beast, which is what we ordered, because what was happening when the kickstart was going, occasionally, because this is worn, wasn't engaging properly in the teeth to turn over the gearbox, so it was like slipping, and the pedal every sort of 5 or 6 presses was going straight to the floor. That's why I do get rid of this and put the LI on mod onto them. As you've seen, if you look any of my previous videos on that, that's one of the things I like doing. I like getting rid of this GP ramp, but this one's not even worn, so you know, it's just a case of finding that the original one, which impossible to show you on camera, but hopefully you can see, that's the new one in this hand, and that's the old one. And when you see how sharp that is, and the profile of it, compare one to the other, hopefully you can see that. That's got more of a fighting chance anyway. So we need the spring, which is there. This one didn't come with a spring and a washer for some reason, and I believe it's that washer, the hole in the middle. I have to clean all them up and put some grease on them in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just stop, because this part of the engine's finished. We're doing the side casing next, so I'll realign the camera so you get a good view of that. Let's turn some lights on again. Hopefully this will help with the view here. So as you know, we took off the old one. I just need to give that a wipe again in there. We took off the old spring and gear. I'll clean that up in a minute. And what happens with this is, it's, shift it so I can actually see it. This is the retaining clip here, that just unscrews. Yeah, like so. That goes in the cutout there. Hopefully you can see that screwdriver, and it's spring loaded. So this washer sits on the bottom. So I'll clean that up. I did sort of expect all this and the spring to be new, but hey ho. So we've just put the washer in, and there's a circlip on the inside there that it sits up against. That's it. I don't know if you can see that, it's flat in there. So what we do now is we just give the spring a wipe. All it is, I don't want to get any contaminants in there, and give the gear a wipe. And what I'm going to do, just for peace of mind, I'm just going to put a bit of grease around it. And a bit of grease where the spring goes, like so. So that's it, spring pushed into the plunger, the gear, and you can only put it round the right way because of the retaining thread on it. So I'm hoping you can see this, but what we're going to do is just drop all of that inside, and then it should spring load, which it's doing. And I just got to turn it a tad, it's not in line. That's it. And then all we do is put our little engaging thread and screw that in. Again, because I've got gloves on, this is a nightmare job. That's it, it started. Right, that's not tight yet at the moment, but you can see what I'm on about. So when that's engaged, that's under tension. It's it needs screwing in to show you it working properly. So I'll just get a pair of 5 holes and turn it in. So all I'm doing is screwing this up so that it's free. Like so. Can get a little spanner on this if you want. Like so. That gives you the idea anyway, so it moves nice and free. So when the kickstart's pushed down, this comes out, the gear's engaged like you can see now, and you kick over the engine like so. That engages with the first gear on the gearbox, spins over the gears, turning over everything top end wise. So I'm just looking for my adjustable. So I've got an adjustable spanner, and I'm just going to tighten that right up. And again, you get a feel, don't go too mad. I realise you can't see what I'm doing, but that's more or less there now. In a bit more, yeah. Right, so I'm happy that that works. We've got our plunger in. I'm just going to give this a wipe inside. There's a few bits of dirt in there, gasket by the looks of it, and looks like it's got a few bits of cork from the clutch as well. But that's, you know, it's running all of the gear anyway, so you'd expect some debris in there. That looks pretty nice. I do like these uni side casings. They do look nice, and they do seem to fit as well. Just seem a hell of a lot nicer than the Scooters India one. But again, there's so many people in India that put their name on stuff. You don't know what's Scooters India and what's not. There's just a few little bits and bobs. It looks like gasket. Somebody's put a silicon gasket compound on. Bit overkill on the side of the engine, I must admit. Yeah, it's just silicon, black silica. Another little rag and just go in everywhere and just clean it out. Obviously the cleaner it is, the less debris you're going to clean out your first oil, and you should change the oil after about 100 miles, and then thousands and thousands whenever you do a service, once a year, something like that, once every 2 years if you're a light scooter user. So I'm quite happy with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make sure that's tight actually. Yes, it is. What I'm going to do now is move you across a little bit. So I'm going to put a bit of grease on here just to let them bed in. Not a lot, just a tad, like so. Put the cover back on the grease. And then what I'll do is I'll bring the camera up and we'll put this in back on, and fill her with oil, and that side of the engine's done. So I'll show you what I've got to do to the cylinder. It's a typical Indian cylinder, in as much as it's the inlet ports and the transfer ports are too small, and this bike did go, definitely. I've been out with a guy riding, and even 2 up, it does go. So right, I'll cut away for a minute till I get the camera back up, get into all these little snippets as well. Right, so first things first, I'm just going to put a dab of grease on the Kickstart, I should say the gasket. It's dusty from being hung up, but because this hasn't got any studs on it, and it's the bolted variety, which is what Scooters India did late on, just putting a bit of grease on so it won't stick. Just go around the edge of it, like so. Always use a new gasket, by the way, if I haven't said that before. Probably have done a million times. Don't mess around. If you get a leak, the exhaust has got to come off, and it's just not worth it. Make work for yourself. Right. I'm just going to go round all of it like so, and the 2 big ones go to the exhaust holder ones, and you've got a little pin that aligns the cover on. I'll just push that down in place. You see what I mean? If it's on when you've got the studs in, everything lines up a lot nicer than these. So all we got to do now is grab our cover and just have a last check to make sure that our phosphor bronze actuator is still in place, and then just drop that over the top. It fell off. I might have to put a bit more oil in that, or that's it. Just make sure it's there. Yeah. So all we got to do now is get our bolts and go through one at a time, taking your time, making sure that they're all in place. And I can give this a wipe down afterwards as well. So I have to just go through our nut and bolt kit. So lift it up. Oh, that should stick because it's supposed to be magnetic. I'll put it over there out the way. So yeah, that's through the gasket, and just do it a couple of turns so it's engaged, and move on to your next one. And again, that's gone through, and your next one basically all the way through. That one's gone straight through again. That seems no, it's not. It does seem to be a bit shorter. That's not gone straight through. It has now. Just keep making sure the actuator's on. We do want a long one on the exhaust. So I'm not actually sure. I thought they were all the same length that came off, but yeah, that one's gone in. We leave this one out here because that's where the exhaust is bolted onto. That's not in line. That is now. And we just go through the whole engine putting these in, which is a pain because, like I say, if you've got the studs in, the side of the engine's on, you're just putting a nut and a washer on. We're up to the top end of the engine now, this part. That one's not in line. What I'll probably have to do is drag the engine up, stand it upwards. Grease out the way. Right, that gasket's back aligned. What it's done is it's moved up slightly. That's it. That's in. What I'm doing actually is because I've used a nut on there to use the clutch compressor, I have to take off the nuts. And then put the washers on. There's only about 2 or 3 to go now anyway, so that's another one. What I can do is just screw them down a little bit more, like so. We've only got our last one now on the top, that is, and I think I'm going to have to look for some washers again. Seems to have been built with a combination of different washers for some reason. Let's have a look in here. And we don't need one for the bottom because that is a longer one that should do the, yeah, that's gone straight in, so yeah. All we do now is tighten them up finger tight. I should have the screwdriver ratchet part out already. Yeah, I've got a 10 on it already. Yep, that's preparation for you. Just do them up finger tight. Right, so you can go all the way around like I did, putting the studs in or the bolts in. When you come to tighten them up, obviously you're doing it crisscross, so that's about finger tight. And that one. This one. That's the other one. I just wanted to make sure that the gasket's in the right place. So finger tight again. And this one. That one, like I say, at this point there's no way of doing it. You know, there's no correct and bad way of doing it. All we want is the gasket to be sealed nice and even, and then we can tighten it down. I've only got four more to do now. Then we can stand the engine up and tighten it all up. It's nice, these stands, I can't remember who makes them, but they are worth the money. You know, how much harder is it to put a clutch in when it's on a scooter and it's in its correct orientation? It's just, this way is just so much nicer, everything lines up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring the kickstart down, make sure it's engaging, because obviously we don't want to tighten stuff at the moment until we are 100% sure that everything lines up. So as you can see, I've not used a ratchet on any of them yet. Right. I'm quite happy with that. That seems to be engaging every time now. Lovely. Does feel really positive. I'm not very happy about the rubber there. Right, we can use the ratchet now if we want to. Take that one off. And we'll go here first. Is that an 11 I've got on there? Yes, it is. Crazy. So go from this one first and tighten it up. Bear in mind you can't over tighten these because you'll strip the thread out. So that's just the pinch point, and I'm going to go from what, 5 o'clock till just after 6, and the same on here. That's the pinch point, near enough. Nope, nope, that one's pretty shit actually. That one again. That one, the same again. Go up here. That's it. I can do that one. That's tight. There's a couple of these threads which are pretty shit, I must admit. That one's tightening. Yep, I've done that one. Yep. That one's tight. And then just go round them one at a time, making sure they're tight. That one is there. That one's there. That one was crap. I might try another bolt on that. That one's good. So let's take this one out. The thread looks all right on it. Try a different bolt. Yeah, it appears to be tighter, but you know, the soft part of the engine is the casing, isn't it? So that's not even tightening. So what I'm going to have to do is see if I can get a longer bolt and get some thread in there, because that's not going to work. I'll cut away while I look for some longer bolts. I had to tap out the holes and put some longer bolts in, but it is what it is. You know, these engines are getting old nowadays. Not what I would have liked. Like I say, I don't. That's the reason why. Excuse me. I don't use nuts and bolts on the Lambretta casing. I think it's a bad idea, but hey ho, it is what it is. Let's tidy up this nuts and bolts out the way. But that is the engine all buttoned up on the Kickstart side. I've just got to clean it off and tidy up this workbench even. Like I say, all I did was go down about 10 mil more than it was till we got a biting point, and we can put that in the box. We don't need that no more. Keeping all the bits I use, but I'm more than happy with that. So I was going to turn the engine on its side now and give it a clean down. I've still got some petrol, and I've got my brush there, so like I say, I'm just going to tidy up. Point to showing you that the next video is going to be on the cylinder, which has come, but like I say, it needs porting. I'll explain that. But this one today is, apart from cleaned, is okay. They suggested put a new Kickstart plastic and rubber on as well, but like I say, it's not my money. Thanks for watching. Take care of everybody. Bye for today. Bye.